I remember the day vividly. The autumn air was crisp, carrying the scent of burning leaves and something unsettling. It was the day I learned the baby she claimed was mine wasn't even related. The news hit me like a physical blow, a cold dread seeping into my bones, far more terrifying than any childhood fear. My name is David, and this is the story of how my life, once meticulously constructed, crumbled into lies and shadows. It began subtly. My wife, Sarah, was beautiful, charismatic, and fiercely independent. When she told me she was pregnant, my world shifted. I was overjoyed, picturing a future filled with laughter and tiny footsteps. The initial months were a blur of doctor's appointments, baby-proofing, and late-night talks about names. But as the due date approached, a strange feeling crept in. Sarah became distant. Her eyes, once open and inviting, now held a guarded quality. She'd brush off my questions about her past with a tight smile. And a change of subject. I dismissed it as pregnancy stress. We all have secrets, don't we? Then came the birth. Our daughter, Lily, was tiny, fragile, and utterly perfect. Holding her, I felt a connection, so profound, so undeniable, that all my prior anxieties vanished. She was mine, or so I believed. As Lily grew, however, the whispers began anew. She didn't look like me. Not a single feature. People would comment, kindly at first. Then with a growing curiosity that pricked at my subconscious. She has her mother's eyes, they'd say. Sarah would laugh it off, attributing it to recessive genes. But the gnawing feeling persisted. There was an indefinable something, a subtle disconnect. I couldn't articulate, a shadow clinging to our family unit. I'd watch Sarah with Lily, and while her love was evident, there was a peculiar intensity in her gaze, almost a possessiveness that felt off. One evening, after putting Lily to bed, I found an old photo album tucked away. I hadn't seen it before. Flipping through the pages, I saw pictures of Sarah's past. And then, a photo that made my blood run cold. It was Sarah, much younger, with a man I didn't recognize. And beside them, a baby. A baby that bore an uncanny resemblance to Lily. My heart pounded in my chest. I tried to rationalize it away. A cousin? A friend's child? But the resemblance was too striking. The suspicion, once a tiny seed, now bloomed into a monstrous, thorny vine. Choking out all reason, I knew, with a certainty that chilled me to the bone, that I needed answers. I couldn't confront Sarah directly. Something told me she would deny everything. So, I did what any desperate man would do. I sought out a private investigator. The weeks that followed were a torment. Every day was a slow, agonizing crawl, filled with a suffocating sense of dread. I would look at Lily, her innocent face beaming up at me, and feel a wave of conflicting emotions: love, yes, but also a growing sense of betrayal, a horrifying knowledge that the very foundation of my life was built on sand. The day the investigator called, my hand trembled as I answered. His voice was low, grave. "David," he said, "we have the results." He detailed Sarah's past, a series of short-lived relationships, a period where she had lived with a different man for a significant time before we met. And then, the ultimate blow. A DNA test, conducted discreetly, confirmed it. There was zero biological relation. Not a shred. The baby she claimed was mine wasn't even related. The world spun. The air thickened, pressing down on me, suffocating me. The image of Lily's face, once a source of pure joy, now morphed into something akin to a phantom, a living testament to a deception so profound it defied comprehension. I thought of the countless nights I'd spent cradling her, singing her lullabies, believing myself to be her protector, her father. All of it, a cruel mirage. Paternity fraud. The legal term felt cold and clinical, inadequate to describe the emotional wreckage it left behind. It was a violation, a deep-seated betrayal that reached into the very core of my being. My immediate thought wasn't about legal battles or child support. My immediate thought was of Sarah. How could she have looked me in the eye, day after day, year after year, and maintained such an elaborate, insidious lie? Was it for financial gain, or something darker? The thought of her intent, her knowledge that the statement of paternity was false, sent shivers down my spine. I remembered the research I did, after the initial, frantic internet searches. The cases of men discovering they weren't the biological fathers of the children they had raised, often years into their lives. The stories of betrayal, of emotional scars, of shattered families. I had always empathized, but now, I was living it. I was one of them. The pain was an almost physical entity. The erosion of trust was absolute. It wasn't just Sarah I couldn't trust anymore. It was the very fabric of my perception of reality. The confrontation was inevitable, and it was brutal. Sarah initially denied everything, her eyes wide and innocent, her voice trembling. But when I presented her with the evidence, the cold, irrefutable DNA results, her facade crumbled. The truth, ugly and raw, spilled out. A past relationship, a pregnancy, a desperate need for stability, a fear of judgment. She had chosen me, she said, because I was kind, stable, and would be a good father. Her words, instead of offering solace, only twisted the knife deeper. It was a calculated act. The legal battles that followed were long and arduous. The courts often viewed paternity fraud as a civil matter, focusing on damages. But how do you quantify the damage to a man's soul? The destruction of a future he had so lovingly envisioned? Proving intent was complex, emotionally draining. I look at Lily now, and the love I feel for her is still there, albeit tinged with sadness. She is an innocent in all of this. The impact on her will be immeasurable. I was her father in every way that mattered. The man whose sperm fertilized an egg was a ghost. I was the one who was there, who held her, who loved her. The experience left an indelible mark, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the most ordinary surfaces. It's a horror that doesn't scream or chase, but whispers, slowly eroding your sense of self. The baby she claimed was mine wasn't even related. And in that simple, horrifying truth, my world was irrevocably shattered. The shadows still linger, a constant echo of the betrayal, a testament to the chilling reality that, sometimes, the greatest monsters wear the most familiar faces.